Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and today I'm sitting in a 2022 Infiniti QX80. This is a sensory trim in this vehicle, and it's about $87,000. So let's get that out of the way. But let's talk about what's new this year, which isn't a whole lot, but then I'll also do my 5 good things and 5 not so good things about this Infiniti QX80. Let's get started on all that right now. Okay, let's talk about what's new and what's not so new. So we have new this year is we have a new 12.3-inch screen here, touchscreen. This is wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. You can see my phone down there, right? And I can click this button here and I can go back to the home page. This is their menu system, or I go back to CarPlay. So it works out pretty good. It was kind of an addition on top of this. Used to have a couple screens. Now we have one screen. They've really kind of changed the stack a little bit. And then we do have wireless charging right in here. So you just pop the phone in like so and close the door, make sure that button's on, and you have wireless charging for your cell phone too. So just some big changes there. Not so much else going on throughout the cabin. I do have Wi-Fi built in this as well. So just technology updates, updating this here and leaving everything else, well, alone. So there you go. There are the big changes for this year. We covered them in like 20 seconds. No, but seriously, I mean, this screen it moves pretty fast. I like having, you know, the maps. I have audio. I can add my home to the map screen. So there's good technology here, and I like having Apple CarPlay there. So I think this is a win-win over the prior model year where it had like a dual screen setup and really kind of weird screens. It does look a little plastered on, but it should, right? So this was a mid-cycle refresh. These redesign's not complete for the cabin. Just adding that in and making that kind of more competitive. So there you go. That's what's new. Let's go ahead and talk about my 5 good things and 5 not so good things about this truck. Okay, number 1 has got to be the exterior. You know, there's a lot of love and hate about the exterior design, and I've criticized it at times, but I think the older I get, the more I appreciate how unique it is and stands out in the marketplace. You know, everything is becoming so generic these days. All the SUVs look the same, and have something completely different and kind of standing out. I think it works for this. Now, this still is a very big SUV, and they're not trying to hide that. You can tell it just looks big. It is big. Everything about it is big. But I do like the kind of the chrome on the front. I do like the lack of chrome kind of overall. They have it in just the right places for this Infiniti QX80. Okay, my second good thing about this is driving, and I did just dirt road driving. I can tell you that on the pavement as well, it's a very smooth riding vehicle. And even though they have these really large 22-inch wheels on it, I thought they'd get some more road noise. I thought it'd be a little more uncomfortable driving with them. And it turns out they are very smooth. I've done road trips to Denver, which is about 180 miles. No complaints there. Really comfortable driving vehicle. And number 3 is going to be the power delivery. I mean, this is a 5.6 liter V8. It's the old school V8. I just like the power output. It feels very powerful behind the wheel. And it feels like you are in a big truck. Big SUV that has lots of power, I should say it differently. It's not really a truck, even though it's a ladder-based frame vehicle. While the competition is starting to go more 3.5 liter twin turbos, which have more power delivery and a little bit quicker, there's just nothing that beats a V8. So that's number 3. Number 4 has got to be these seats, and this is the interior. I'm gonna say interior overall. I mean, you have the second row and the third row, but these first and second row seats are just incredibly comfortable. I'll move my coat here. And it has some really nice styling here too. So nice, comfortable leather. I like this styling. There was for a minute there, they had some styling that I didn't care for. It was kind of looked like it was, I don't know, looked like it was a blanket that was unfolded. Not quite right. This is nice. This is double stitched in there. are single stitched in there, and so really nice look there as far as the overall style. I love the style, love the seats, very comfortable seats. If you're new to this channel, well, you probably haven't heard my rants about seats, but these seats are so much better than like the Chevy Tahoe, than GMC Yukon seats. Very comfortable. You can long distance drive in this all day long. And number 5 has got to be the new screen. I mean, even though it's not a huge upgrade, it is, in my opinion, a big upgrade for them. I think it just looks, everything looks a lot better. I just find it to be a lot more clean, and I just think it looks better, and just, like I said, more competitive in the marketplace. And having wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto is a big win these days. Lots of people are loving that features, and I know I used the heck out of it when I was driving to Denver, using the maps. It's easy to use Apple CarPlay for me versus any of the system specific, like the vehicle specific infotainment systems. I just like CarPlay better. So there you go. So let's talk about things that I don't really care for. And one is going to be the new one they have. So this is wireless charging, but your phone disappears. You have this huge place here for your phone, and yeah, it's just not, it just feels like it's kind of out of place. And I can tell you that my phone gets pretty hot in there as well. I was driving the other day, and it wasn't that warm out, maybe 70 degrees. My phone was burning up when I grabbed it. So I appreciate the effort. I know this has got a big charging situation. So this keyless charger is actually about this big. It's a huge charger, and they do really have another place to put it. So I do understand it. It's a lot of real estate there to just charge your phone. Okay, so number 2 thing that I don't really care for is going to be the fuel economy, right? So 16.2 mile per gallon. This one averages 13, 19 highway, 15 combined, and premium fuel is recommended for maximum performance. So yeah, I spent 40 bucks going to Denver, 180 miles. That wasn't so much fun. So while I do appreciate the V8, I like the big V8 power and that stuff, I do understand why the turbocharged engines are coming out, because it'll just get better fuel economy. That's what's going to happen with this. Number 3 thing that I don't really care about, which I really don't understand, is there's just a small sunroof here. Now, I mean, there are those people that still think the sunroofs leak quite crazy, and they've had stories of their cousins, whatever. This isn't the 90s over again. The sunroofs have become really good these days, and I'm surprised there's not a panoramic sunroof or moonroof coming in here. I'm sure that's a part of a bigger refresh for this eventually. This is such a small mid-cycle refresh. They'll eventually do one, because they probably got to cut and re-engineer the roof and all kind of stuff. But I was surprised at this price point, $87,000. It wasn't like a panoramic moonroof. Just kind of surprised me. Number 4 thing, and let me get out and show you, it's a Timism for sure all day long. This isn't anything that's too crazy, but so I turn off the vehicle and I exit the vehicle and I come out here in the wind. Okay, so let me show you what's going on. So let's say I want to lock the doors, right? I'm outside the vehicle. I can press the one-touch lock here, and you can see it, right? You can hear it, hear the beep, you can see the, okay, I can lock and unlock right from the door, easy. I'm not always trained to do that. I tend to use the key fob. So I grab the key fob, which is right there, and I press my lock. Why does that, why is it that that beeps at me, but then when I use the door, I don't understand that. And I would tell you that I was in a parking garage, and that is really loud when it beeps at you. It's really, really loud, uncomfortable. So that's number 4. Number 5 is gonna be right here. This is something they probably need to work on. But, so you can tow with this. I'll put the towing number on the screen, but they only have 1,322 pounds of payload. So 1,322 pounds of payload. What does that mean? Why is that a big deal? Oh, I like the step in, by the way, too. Why is that a big deal? Well, so here's what happens, is that every person you put inside the cabin, you add up against your total payload of the vehicle. So if you have a family of 4, and say every family member weighs 150 pounds or 200 pounds, whatever, 200 pounds easier, right? So 800 pounds against your payload, that leaves you about, what, 500 and some pounds for towing something. So if you know anything about towing, you should take 5% of your total weight of what you're towing, or 10% of what your total weight is towing against your payload. So if I'm towing 5,000 pounds, which is a standard boat, I would take 10% off of that, 500 pounds, and take it to my payload number. So 4 people and a fairly standard size, maybe a bigger boat, right? Plus your cargo, plus your cooler, that kind of stuff. And you're basically maxed out. That sucks. You know, now you can add more weight. People do it all the time. But then you start getting more and more squat, and you get more squat, and the tires come up off the road a little bit more. You're looking upward a little bit more. Your brakes don't work quite as well. It's pretty dangerous to get overloaded. So that's something to probably have to work on. There's not a lot of aluminum in this vehicle. There's probably a lot of steel, a lot of old school, thick, hard frame, the big V8 engine. So I could see in future generations where they do a lot of lightweighting on this. If you look at like the Lexus LX600 that came out, it replaces the 570, which was the big competitor of this. They dropped 441 pounds off just doing those changes, which should improve payload, which should make that a better towing rig. So I guess kind of my thing here is if you do plan on doing a lot of towing with this and hauling people around with a camper, you're going to run into some issues. We're going to be overloaded pretty quickly. It's not its fault. It's just something you need to know before you buy this vehicle. So there you go. There's my thoughts on the 2022 Infiniti QX80. For more, check this video out over here. Website down below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you down the road.